We have finally decided to go to the moon. Again. For the first time in 5 decades, humankind is refocusing its efforts on the moon as a place of scientific achievement. As last year NASA announced it selected SpaceX's Starship to land humans on the moon as part of the agency's Artemis program. So, what are the benefits of landing on the moon? What other plans do NASA and SpaceX have? Welcome to Future. Today we'll discuss SpaceX and NASA's plans to colonize the moon. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get updated with everything on future technology, Elon Musk, or SpaceX. Have you seen Apollo 11? Yes, that movie was insane, but going into space back in the day was a terrible experience. So let's see if we can rekindle the pure force of will that propelled us to the moon in the first place. Combined with the fantastic technology that we have in the current world, then we'll not only travel to the moon, but we'll also conquer it. The Artemis program is a new NASA program, and it plans to launch the first people to the moon. NASA says there is a chance that the mission will happen in 2024. Yes, we'll ultimately get to how SpaceX and Elon Musk are aiding in this mission. However, NASA is leading the push here, which is fantastic. This is the most ambitious project NASA has undertaken in far too long. And this concept was conceived during the Trump presidency. You can say what you want about Trump, but he sure is a space nut. So now that the government has finally agreed to provide the necessary cash, NASA is showing its muscles with the Artemis program. In 2024, the first aim is to put humans on the moon. By 2028, the second target is to set up an Artemis base camp on the moon. So that means by the end of this decade, humans will be living and working on the moon. The SLS rocket system and the Orion are the starting points, but Elon Musk will be asking why the Heavy Falcon rocket wasn't used. On the other hand, the SpaceX Falcons are not mighty enough for this purpose. The Space Launch System rocket developed by NASA will become the most powerful rocket booster ever built. All of this is being done to bring the Orion spacecraft into orbit to journey from Earth to the moon and back. Although Orion can carry up to 6 people at once, the current intention is to send only 4 at a time. If everything goes according to plan, humans will go to the moon in 2024 and land there. However, before astronauts reach the moon's surface, they must first visit the Gateway, which is essentially a space station comparable to the ISS. That will be circling the moon in orbit. Gateway is a collaborative effort including teams from NASA, Canada, Europe, and Japan. The plan gradually brings the Gateway's components online over several years. The whole small space station is supposed to be self-contained. It will construct and maintain itself while waiting for the crew to use the Canadarm version 3. Strangely, our arm is named after our nation. It's a little extravagant, but we don't get many victories up here, okay? So now that the Gateway has been created, it will serve as a docking site for the Orion spaceship. As well as a staging area for astronauts, only 2 of them are selected to go to the moon's surface. The other 2 members of Artemis will wait there. This is where SpaceX comes in to help humans transfer from lunar orbit to the surface and back. A SpaceX Starship vehicle will carry out this task. This is a modified version of the original Starship concept that SpaceX has been working on with NASA to fulfill the unique requirements of a lunar human landing system. SpaceX defeated Blue Origin and Genetics to secure a $2.9 billion contract with NASA. With no personnel on board, the Moonlander spaceship will launch from Earth on a super heavy rocket and travel to lunar orbit, where it will wait for the astronauts to arrive. The spacecraft would theoretically float about in space, where it may be utilized as a ferry several times. The 2 persons who arrive on the moon will stay for 1 week, researching the surface and residing in the spaceship before returning to the portal. In the Orion capsule, everyone returns to Earth. NASA is still doing things the old way. The Orion will not land on Earth. Instead, it will release a capsule that will descend to the ground and parachute into the sea. NASA's proposal is highly inefficient and too convoluted, considering all of this could be done with only 1 SpaceX spacecraft. And yes, in principle, that is correct. The crew capsule is the sole portion of the whole Orion system that survives. The rest is a waste of time. The NASA SLS rockets are unable to land on their own. They can't be reused, which is sad. It's not the best method to go about it, but keep in mind that NASA began this strategy 5 years ago. Back then, SpaceX didn't have the same track record as today. NASA couldn't simply trust that SpaceX would deliver on all of its promises. As a result, they moved ahead and created this software. According to NASA's procedures, this is the first opportunity they've had in decades to create something amazing. Allow them to have this one. In the not-too-distant future, we'll almost certainly have autonomous spacecraft voyages from Earth to the Moon. And by the way, this is all in the early stages of a long-term moon-based colonization mission that will last decades. So now that we've landed on the Moon, what's next? NASA intends to build an Artemis base camp on the surface and send new astronauts up once a year to continue developing and expanding the project. However, they are not the only ones who have come up with this concept. China and Russia have declared a collaboration to build a lunar outpost. They're not going to tell us precisely what they're planning for this expedition. We know that China successfully landed a probe on the Moon's dark side a few years ago. As a result, they are also serious about this. But what is the purpose of populating the Moon in the first place? This is the point at which everything becomes very speculative. We still don't know a lot about the Moon and what's up there. A large part of NASA's mission is to conduct experiments to make discoveries and perhaps learn new things. What do you think China and Russia's plans are? There are many studies to be done regarding what happens in space outside of Earth's atmosphere. However, there are other reasons why we would wish to go to the Moon, one of which is for the resources. We used to think of the Moon as a large, lifeless lump of rock, but now we know there's more to it. There's a lot of good information up there. As a result, moon mining might become a whole new sector in the future. For one thing, the Moon has water. It's frozen solid at the lowest craters, always in the shadow, and the fact that there is water on the Moon implies the presence of hydrogen and oxygen. In a Moon-based community, this would be crucial. There are a lot of valuable components on the Moon that we already know about if we can access water and breathe the air there. Helium-3 is a significant quantity. On Earth, this is extremely unusual, yet it exists on the Moon. Helium-3 may be utilized in nuclear fusion and other applications in the energy industry. Helium-3 may one day be used to power life on the Moon. It might also be quite valuable for energy here on Earth. Silicon, iron, magnesium, aluminum, manganese, and titanium are all known to exist on the Moon. Surprisingly, many of the metals we've discovered on the Moon are critical for manufacturing our modern electrical equipment, notably batteries. As much as this is about science and exploration right now, it is a huge thing. The long-term strategy for the Moon is most likely to be resource extraction, which is great, but also a little frightening, given our history with the Earth. Being able to mine on the Moon is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. If we can move resource extraction off the planet and cease polluting our environment here, we may salvage ourselves as a civilization. Since it is significant, we probably shouldn't destroy the Moon, but it is simply a giant lump of rock that we can mine and take resources from as much as we want. What do you believe the future of life on the Moon will look like? Please share your thoughts in the comments box below. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get updated with everything on future technology, Elon Musk, or SpaceX. Thank you for watching.